Hey howdy hey folks. We are testing out a new system here, so be sure to tell me if there are any glitches, because right now I am doing this in order to see how things go. So be sure to tell me if like the frame rate is messed up, if the audio is messed up, things like that. I have moved a lot of cables around, and there's a very high chance I broke something. So, greetings there for Lexi and Waziri. Just a second, that's a lot of text there. Dropped a follow to show some genuine support for your stream. I also know a top Twitch stream. Yeah, genuine support. You know, that's a new trick that I've noticed over the last couple of months. You are not the first one to do that. I'm calling scam. Get out of here. If you want to show some genuine support, don't lead with that. We're not trying to boost growth. We're trying to be genuine around here. We hate bots and we hate scammers. Because we want people that show mercy, love, kindness. And what you're trying to do is trick people and intentionally ruin lives. And no, I do not. I could say a lot worse things. I've seen enough of it. Stand by, I'm going to just check my audio now. Skip that. Okay, we're good. One of the problems, though, that I am encountering is Silverado is currently bugged out. So I was able to get it to do one audio change. Unfortunately, I could not get it to do other ones. So right now it is playing. If you are somehow, which I know we've not had someone do this in about a year or so, but if we have somebody who ends up trying to use Silverado tonight, it is not going to work for you. There we go. Anyway, besides that, hopefully folks are doing well. We are halfway through the week, and for some people, they are traveling this week. So hopefully people have safe travels, despite all the nonsense that seems to be happening at a lot of the airports. No, I did not do that one very well. Boing. Well, that storm is moving pretty far for this first one. I've not been able to play the original Fortnite in months. I tried it last night. Works well on the new machine, but it's not perfect. There are a couple of glitches that have happened for me, and I don't know if it's related to the game or if it's related to my new computer. So we will see. Yeah. Swap that out. Balloons. The Golden Chef. You find me some more health. Okay, fine, we're out of here. I think it would be fun to use a scroll suit. But I also hear they're quite dangerous, actually. So, not necessarily going to be going out to try and do that necessarily. I know that I'm a little too big for it. And apparently you have to be like a perfect size for it to really kind of be safe. I think I could theoretically get away with it, but I'm much rather prefer to do like hang gliding or something like that. Ooh, hunting rifle. Oh, it maxed out on health. Interesting. Ooh, mushroom. Now, typically we don't play Fortnite a whole lot these days, and I did it just because we've had all the glitches with it, and I thought, what better system to try and test it out than on this? But a lot of new things also become possible as well. Uh-oh. What the heck is that? Is it a player? Can you tell I've not done this season very much? Kind of weird that I have such a high level, but that's all from the OG. Huh. Peculiar. But a couple of new interesting things pop up when if I am to use this new setup. One of them is that rendering will no longer cause the stream to glitch. Rendering with Blender when I was trying to do scenes many times it caused audio to start to get distorted. This, thankfully, will help to prevent that from happening. Another thing that was an issue would be various glitches that would be taking place in regards to the to connectivity, either to Restream, because I was using up internet from one computer, or another problem that would occur is it would get kind of like overloaded with request content from the hard drive. And because I use an Ethernet for my hard drive, it was making that a little bit more of a problem. That occurred a couple of times, thankfully not a lot, but it was starting to happen more and more, so I just need to try and figure out another solution. And my old computer is very old at this point, as computers go, and so I realized that it was only a matter of time before things really started to, die on me permanently. Stick to the woodlands. A lot of people deploying now. There we go. Go to that woodland resort. Ew, it's the lizard character from the new movie. I have not seen that movie, and I don't really have much interest in seeing it. Uh-oh. Oh, that was close. I do like animations, and I do like beavers, but the new movie is... it's got way too many inappropriate messaging that from what I've seen. I understand they toned it back a little bit, but still, I've not heard great things about it. So I'm just going to be cautious. I don't really want to give them my money anyway, not until I see more changes to their company. Where is the health? There we go. Very interesting if there was an area that actually had kind of wood flooring around the trees like this. I don't think I've ever seen a place that legitimately has that structure. It's a little unstable. Mile High Retreat. That's a neat statue. Ah, balloons. And there we go, health. We do have a couple of problems with this new setup, though. I will say there's drawing is becoming is not going to be possible with this new setup. Not yet. I have to get a couple more cables to make that work. The old setup was doable, but now, ugh. It's got a couple of problems in relation to distances for the cables. And so one of the challenges, for example, is that I need to one of the other challenges that has become an issue is that I need to also use the new system for the drawing, because the old system is not going to be able to draw for much longer. Windows 11 is not friendly to some of this stuff that I got, and Linux is not really favorable to, or Windows 10 is not really favorable to some of the software either. So some of it I'm going to have to go back and forth. And the setup will change again. This is my temporary setup as I continue to experiment. All right, time to focus. What we got over here? sounds like bots. No, no, no. Not all bots. Ooh. That is a long range. Interesting item. Not doing so good, but it's been a while since I've done this. Double check that some of the, yeah, it's still working. I do need to clean up my OBS as well, I'm noticing. I got too many things that I've changed over the years, and it has accumulated a lot of old layers that are no longer useful. I used to have a whole lot of sound effects that I would press hotkeys on my keyboard to pull them up. Now I just use stream radio. Well, you know, when it's not glitching. But it is a bit of a labor-intensive task because you kind of have to rebuild it from scratch, and it's not something I'm really have much of an interest in wanting to try and do. Oh no, there's that lizard again. Okay, what's a good area to land in? Let's try this canyon. I've not landed in the canyon since the game started to glitch on me. Kind of surprised it's still here. Usually they update the map enough to where if a couple months pass, nothing's the same. Hasn't really happened this time around. Ew, hello. Ooh, that's an interesting item there. I like it. The rocket sort of concept. That felt like a bot there. Dang, that is a slow reload. One more shot, that's all it would have taken. Not even, you know, direct on the character hit as well. Is it just me, or does it feel like the popularity of Fortnite over the last couple of months has waned? I mean, I've been seeing it wane for a long time, but it feels like something really changed. It feels like the popularity fell off a cliff. I don't hear people talking about it nearly as much as they used to. What's more, I also don't notice people playing it as much. Oh, sure, there's still the regulars that play it. But it very much feels like we've officially hit like the max of the popularity it's ever going to have. Unless they really do something to shake it up, I think that it's probably going to make them where they're going to start having the League of Legends effect. Where it's popular, yes, but the popularity will never quite hit the glory days. There's a lot of games that now do the same sort of concept. Of which Battlefield does it, which I've been doing some of that. And been not nearly as successful on that one. This new keyboard's also getting to be a bit difficult to get used to. If I was to try and do this game like professionally, then I would be getting like the perfect mouse and the perfect keyboard. But you know, it does raise an interesting point. Can you theoretically be a professional gamer? No. I used to say that and didn't really have good evidence to back it up. Over the last couple of months, last couple of years, oh yeah, I've seen enough to know for certain, 100%, that it is not a good career to have, and causes you a lot of problems. It won't be initially understood, but it will be understood the more that things unfold. It's not a good weapon to have for me. I'm terrible with pistols. Like I said, I'm terrible with pistols. There we go. Huzzah! Get out of the way. That's some of the most success I've had in a long time. Wonder if it's just because I landed in the place where the newer players were, or if I'm actually getting better. Probably not. What I need is a melee weapon, a grapple blade, or a hammer. Gold. I can throw gold bars at people. What the heck? Paragon. Wait a minute, isn't that made by a different company? I don't know. Interesting. What's that? Is that like a trying to do a knockoff of the oh golly, the Fazbear game arcade games? Don't recognize those. What the? I hear a chest around here somewhere. There we go. Of course, I walked by it earlier. Oh, there we go. Wait, oh, no, that's not. I thought it was Hunter. Oof. People can hear the clicking of the keyboard, because this thing, it is going to take a while to get used to hear the clicking constantly. I could always hear the clicking of my normal keyboard, but This one clicks a lot louder than I was expecting. By the way, interesting fact, when you're using a squirrel suit in real life, there's actually a very real chance that it will not deploy. Kind of like how a parachute sometimes will not deploy. It's not a happy thought, but that's why you usually have a backup parachute. But if the squirrel suit acts up and doesn't deploy, you have a few seconds to think about it. Usually you're supposed to have a parachute to help you out in that moment, but apparently some people have taken to the idea of not wanting to have them, which is not necessarily the best thing to do. Hello. Oh, there we go. Yeah, slid right into me. I don't know if that was in your best interest. Oof. That was not in my best interest. Running around with white weapons, and what I needed to do was get an upgrade. Hey, at least I did better than the previous times. By the way, during the middle of the week is usually when I don't stream. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I broke that rule this week. Mostly because I wanted to see what would happen, and also because I was trying to test stuff out. Including Monday, I was testing stuff out. But typically I do stream during the weekends. Weekdays kind of disappeared because I've noticed a trend. The streaming world has started to see a decline, at least for small streamers like myself. Kind of weird. I'm small, but I'm actually tall. Wait a minute. Slip. Frame rate off. I just realized. Just a second. I'm waiting for it to come up on my end. All right. See what happens. Okay, there is a little bit of a frame drop, not much, not enough to care about. It's actually the camera, it's not the stream itself, from what I can tell. Which is fine, even if there was a frame drop. It's not like people need to see everything in 4K. It's one of the reasons why I don't stream in 4K, because it's not beneficial. It doesn't make anyone's day better, it doesn't improve anything. All it really does is it takes more wear and tear on your system. I got enough expenses. I don't need to pay for 4K. But some people think that by streaming in 4K, their life is gonna turn around. As if. I know, I'm a bit cynical-minded when it comes to streaming. I've been doing it for long enough. I know some of the gimmicks that people have been using. There's a lot of issues. Ego gets involved. The desire for fame and glory causes you to make investments that are really not wise. And one of those investment mistakes is upgrading 4K. Some people have to get like, oh, you got the proper gaming chair. I got a $20 Costco chair. It's been going on for years at this point. When one chair breaks, I go out and get another. $20 is pretty cheap compared to a $200 gaming chair. Or $300, whatever the cost is. It's a lot. But anyway, I'm cynically minded about companies that try and push you to, become a top tier gamer or streamer. The biggest streamers out there got to their position by being genuine. The people that play the game to try and, build up hype usually are trying to game the system. And those that do find success, it's usually fake. The average person doesn't want to tune in and see somebody, whether they're young or old or whatnot, playing games. What they really want, first and foremost, is a sense of belonging, a sense of community. It doesn't matter what you do to try and pull that off. Ooh, donut. Which one's better here? Ooh, that thing is fast firing. I'll give that a shot because it's also pretty straight in its attack. But anyway, what's the guy's name? Kai? That became like a super big famous streamer overnight. I don't hear anybody talking about him since. After the kind of scandal that took place a while back, no one talks about him. People also that want things that are new. And if you're not offering something that's new, well, then people are going to look for it somewhere else. And so a lot of streamers rise and fall in that way. The most recent one is, what is his name? Burnt Peanut or something like that? I haven't really been paying attention enough to even care about the name. But I do know that he has been very famous recently, and I know people that are sharing his clips left and right. People that I know that I'm like, this guy? You're interested in this guy's content? And it baffles me. But if you're looking for the new and exciting, well, it doesn't really matter who it is. It just matters that they're new and exciting. I expect his popularity will fall as quickly as it rose. He's not unique for being just a, eyes and mouth on a peanut. And that's one of the reasons why I think people can't stand his followers can't stand the hate that he gets. You see, that was an early trend in YouTube. I saw a lot of people doing things like that. And I've never understood why people like that sort of content to begin with, but I saw it disappear very quickly. Well, now it's back. Why? This sort of stuff became old, boring, overused. So I don't blame people for wanting to find something new, but the thing is that people then pretend like somehow a person's entertaining because they're new. And no, I'm not trying to say it like somehow I deserve it and he doesn't. No, I definitely not. If I really was trying to do this sort of stuff as a career, I would have a very different approach. I do it honestly, for the community building. Some people claim that they're doing it for charity. I doubt people that are actually saying that actually mean it or understand what it means. But a lot of people are going to be trying to do it just because they want to feel like they are able to find fame and glory. So when I see somebody that finds it and leans into it and it feels very disingenuous, what the heck? Oh, it's one of those locks where you need two people. Okay. But anyway, it feels disingenuous because it does have that oddness of a guy that could be anybody, because, you know, somebody is using a filter for themselves. Could be anybody, not really saying anything that's different or unique. And there was a clip that was going around where it showed him getting excited about something new in a game. And it's like, if only I could be as excited. This was literally the quote. And this was somebody that I knew who was being genuine. If only I could be as excited about the different games as this peanut guy. And I found it weird because where'd this person go? There we go. Wow, that was close. And the guy was deadpan. Well, from as far as Peanut could be, deadpan on the screen, like, man, if you and I were to get like the same type of skins, oh my goodness, it would be just the coolest thing in the world. He was leaning into the streaming mindset. But here's the thing. I have never once seen somebody in real life get excited for games in a genuine way that lasted more than maybe the first day or two of them playing it. To have that level of interest in every game that you're doing starts to suggest that you are faking it. And that's where it gets disingenuous, because you're faking to people that you care about something that they care about. And when people start to realize you don't actually mean it, then people start to leave. I saw that happen to a YouTuber a couple of years ago. They started to realize he was disingenuous. He didn't actually care the way that he was. Game glitched here. Connecting. Well, that's a problem. Network lost, but the stream is still going. Interesting. Technical difficulties. Okay. So it's on their end. All about taste. Same with art. Yeah, there's some truth to that, Jersey. By the way, how you doing tonight? But so this guy had this belief that somehow he was, doing something that was cool and unique. He was playing the game God of War. And he acted as if everybody had come to see him doing something unique and different. And he literally believed this. How do I know? Because I have actually a lot of communications with a variety of streamers. Some pretty big ones too. And so he was certain that people actually did watch it because they thought he was a pro. And then, while he was on stream, I watched as he struggled to solve the simplest puzzle. When I say simplest puzzle, I really do mean that. The path very clearly went off to one side, and he got stuck for, I believe it was a full 15-20 minutes of him stuck at this one area, unable to figure out how to move forward. And he kept trying to tell people he knew exactly where the path was, and it was forward. At that point, people aren't watching you for that. If you were a real pro, you would have it to the point where you could have figured that out. But he couldn't. Very clear path. What people watched him for was his personality. They didn't watch for his game skills. They watched for his personality. Thing is that personality started to wane. And very quickly, a lot of people started to leave. Not after that stream. No, it took a while later, but it finally got to a point where it was eating at him, like emotionally, because he started to realize what he thought was kind of like a career path for him was turning out not to be so. And that's a sobering reality to suddenly come to. That's why, again, I have never leaned into this as a career, which is all sparked because of the bot that came in to try and, tell me to go and contact someone for fame. It's like, nope, I know too much about the industry. I'm avoiding it. Oh, no. Oh, I missed that. My bad. Good, I'm in a weird point where I don't know what to draw. Side profile maybe is the only thing I didn't draw yet, I guess. That's a good one, and it's also going to be a little disheartening to try and do that one. It is a tough one. Side profiles are not easy, and definitely can make you start to second guess your skills quite a bit. But it's worth doing. Definitely worth doing. Start drawing in terms of a story arc. Oof, my bad. Start getting to where you're drawing for drawing multiple things in a series in that sense. That will introduce a lot of new challenges, but also a variety of things to draw. You've already mastered one style, one look, but you're still early on in your art skills. Try and expand. Try something different, and you'll start to feel yourself growing again. Because that's the main point of why we draw different images, is to try and grow and improve our skills over time. Here are a couple of images that I drew a while back. This is when I was getting the art table set up. And my skill went down the tubes when I did this. It went so badly. And it was because I was just getting back to the idea of drawing on paper. And so now I'm much better at it. It took a long time of drawing, but now it is actually, decent. And I need to break out that art table again. So there's one more thing I do want to mention about the what happens when you start to embrace the fame too much. Have you ever had somebody praise you only to humiliate you? It may sound a little weird, praising someone only for humiliation. There was a guy who I went to school with. I didn't know him very well when I got there. He was not very popular on campus. Most math teachers love. Yep. So this guy was not very popular to begin with. And by the time he came to his senior year, people were shouting his name. They were praising him, saying how great he was, how much they loved having him around. And to the point of where he was actually invited onto the stage of events so he could shout out the name of the school and get people hyped. He felt like he was on top of the world. A nobody to being one of the most famous guys on campus. And then, on his graduation day, he reached out to his thousands of friends and said that he was going to have a graduation party and movie night. Ironically, even though I didn't have a whole lot of connections with him, I was on the list. But I had recently started to talk with him. And so I thought, oh, well, that's probably because we've had a couple of conversations. I'll do that. I said I wouldn't be able to stay for the movie, but I'd come over to see him and, wish him luck. Well, when I got to the event, I noticed something interesting. I was one of 4 or 5 people. 4 to 5 people out of thousands. And I thought, what happened? Well, what he didn't know that I did know was people thought he was ridiculous. They thought he was silly. They thought he was kind of like a proverbial punching bag. And no, I'm not saying that to try and be cruel about him. Literally, that's what people thought of him as. And so when it came time for him to graduate, the joke kind of came to an end. See, they weren't praising him to put him up on stage because they thought somehow he was cool and exciting and fun. They did it to make themselves feel better. They did it to mock him. And when he was no longer mockable, and he actually called them out in that sense, hey, I'm going to be doing something, no one showed up. And instead, they all just started laughing. Can you believe that guy would invite us over? And they tore him to shreds. I'm glad I went, because apparently I was the only person who actually showed him kindness that day. And so I actually have contact with him. Even though it's not major, I still have contact with him. Most popular guy on campus to a nobody. Fame is fleeting. And sometimes fame is not there for the right reasons. And sometimes you're going to wish you had never had the fame to begin with. That happened to that guy. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Dang. Oof. But think about that in terms of fame in the streaming world. One of the guys that I was in contact with, not in contact anymore, he streamed games and he streamed chats, and nobody ever told him how ridiculous he looked. Now, I'm not saying that again to try and be cruel to him, but I'm saying this because everybody knew it. And people would chat about it. He didn't see that chat. He just saw the ones that, that were praising him. He didn't see the ones that were insulting him. And eventually, people stopped showing up. His fame crashed. And so he thought he needed to do more stupid things to try and get people to come back. It just made him look more foolish. It's one of the reasons why also I don't give into the gimmicks, because this has ruined people's lives. By the way, for those that somehow end up watching this that don't know, many people do know this already, but one of the reasons why I talk about this stuff so much is because I still know a lot of people trapped in the idea of that streaming will solve all their problems. That's why I talk about it. Not because I'm trying to somehow compensate for my situation. No, I chose this situation. I had a chance for fame. I rejected it. I had a chance for success, and I was like, no. My values say no. So I'm not trying to say that in terms of my story. I want to give it as a warnings for people, the many people that still think that somehow they're going to stream their lives into success. That's why I bring it up. Because I still hear about people that are doing this. People that have no reason to double and triple down on the streaming life, and they're doing it. That's so dangerous. Dangerous for your future prospects. You can do it casually. Absolutely. I didn't see this golf field here, over here. Golf course. But because people keep thinking somehow that they're going to find success doing that, makes me realize this is still a field that is robbing people of future opportunities. I've seen people who became unhireable because of their streaming life, because people saw the ridiculousness and they said, no, we don't want that sort of a person. It does come back and bite you. Oh, I thought you could carry 6. Surprise. Did you hope for big money from streaming? No. No. Absolutely not. And I actually was offered big money. I won't say who it was. I will tell people off stream, but not on stream. Someone did offer big money and was actually moving forward with making that a reality. It was going to be in the roleplay world. I apparently made an impression, and people were actually starting to see success with that. And someone came up and said, hey, I want to make a business deal with you. If you and I work together, we are going to be filthy rich. And he described his plan, and, you know, it actually seemed possible. And I said no, because I could not ethically see how I could do that with the values that I had. Some people would have said that was a dumb idea. I have not regretted it, because I watched as the people who did do it ended up ruining their lives. It's not the first time someone has done that either. It's happened twice. The people who have been around here for a couple of years know about this story already, but before that happened, someone else came up and said, hey, I'd like to work with you, and here's the business plan. And it's one of the reasons why I don't want to get hired by a media company. I'd rather make one, because I do not like the ethics that are being presented. Even if people were to come along and say, here's money to do this full time, I would be praying about it. You should always pray about it. But each time I've prayed about it, each time I'm like, there's something wrong about this, and I pull back. Foolish? Maybe. I've not regretted it. That's why a lot of people actually know who I am, even though I'm a small streamer. lot of people know who I am. I won't go through the list, but a lot of people with hundreds of thousands of streaming communities that know who I am. Some that never want to know my name ever again. And some that are kind of baffled that I chose the path that I did. I was wondering with a friend recently if we should start streaming, but just for fun. It's free, so yeah, precisely. But only as a hobby. I seriously think that if you really like something, you should keep it as a hobby. And also what that also does is it helps to prevent you from becoming corrupted. The streaming world is very, very, very easy to be corrupted. I do not say that lightly. There are so many people that start to feel the success. Actually, here's a good example. They're like, oh, I want to have my face everywhere. And they start to endorse products that are not good for them, not good for their fans. And pretty soon they become nothing more than a walking billboard for another company. My company is called Castercraft, and it is family oriented because it's trying to solve problems that I see in the industry. It's something I believe in because I have a purpose for it. But if I'm trying to promote somebody else's product, I don't truly believe in it. Ooh, that was close. Ooh, that guy had good weapons. But honestly, I do mean this, Jersey. Be very, very, very careful when considering streaming. It may start out as fun. There are a lot of people though that love to exploit it. A lot of people that will see it and try and exploit it. I've seen it, and I have had people try and exploit it. So those are things to always consider. It is not a friendly industry and promotes some of the worst people in the world. And people will ask you to try and compromise your values in order to achieve your success. I thankfully can say that I have avoided that because, well, here I am, a nobody, but still doing it. But I'm here to be a warning for other people, as well as to be somebody to comfort those that are in need. That's another thing I do. Last year I talked with so many full-time artists, and most of them hate their art job. And that is indeed sad. Very sad indeed. One of the things I've also said to many people before is that folks who stream usually have something that's haunting them. And I'm not joking about that or exaggerating. Almost every single streamer I have met has something is being haunted by something that they've done or something somebody else has done to them. There are the exceptions, but almost every one of them is running from something, and they're choosing streaming as a way to feel successful, to feel famous, that can make them feel like they can get away from the mistakes that they have made. And then it starts to feel like a vice, and then they start to hate it more and more. And then they'll say it secretively. That's why I say it openly, because I've heard these people's discussions. I know that they are hating life. And I do mean hating life with a deep passion. They don't know what to do. They're discouraged. They feel trapped. They feel fake. Imagine that somebody Imagine that somebody out there saw you and said, oh, that person is basically a puppet. They're not real. They don't care what they do to you. And they will start to tear into you emotionally. They start to use you as a punching bag. Sport. Because they don't know how to treat someone kind. The streaming world will do that to people. They think that somehow they can... They think that the streamer is a toy. A game in that sense. And they start to abuse it. And they treat them horribly. Well, unfortunately, that is very, very, very common. And I myself have experienced that. And I'm a nobody. But I was on the verge of becoming a somebody. And then I started seeing it. It is actually the final nail in the coffin of me realizing I don't want to go down this path. But I need to see it because I need to know if everyone experienced it or just a few people. And then I realized, nope, everybody in the industry experiences that. But it may sound like it's free in that sense. But it may also be a trap. There's a guy that I know. He did podcasting. He got into podcasting. It was free. And then he suddenly realized it's not free. He started to pay for it after a while. And he started to get very... he started to feel like the people he was doing it with were not interested in really doing it well. They were doing it for money. He was doing it for the fun of it. They started doing it for money because they were actually getting paid for the podcast. I have gotten paid before doing this streaming stuff, not nearly enough to justify the costs. No, I have lost a massive amount of money to stream, but I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it for the impact, which it's small, but a little bit of impact is better than no impact at all. But I actually have people to interact with. You yourself. I've had dozens of people who have been around these streams. I was not fast enough for doing the switch there. Yeah, well, actually went pretty well. Here's the tally of number of eliminations. I don't want to see this. Skip it. Map. 5 eliminations. That's not bad. Not bad at all. Yes, bounce up and down, sir. You show us that you have legs that work. But so anyway, it turned out his friend was wanting to get the money, and then he started getting discouraged that they weren't making the money. They started out by making a whole bunch, and then it started to decline. First a little bit, then it started to slide a lot, and then pretty soon they weren't making anything. It's one of the reasons why I have trouble with the Rumble streamers, for the most part, because a lot of them are doing it for money. Yeah, I know, Rumble. I'm sorry, but that is indeed the case. Most of your people over there are looking for money. By the way, I don't get any views over on Rumble, or almost no views on Rumble. It has been a very disappointing platform. It started out promising. It is becoming a creator complaining corner. I'm not exaggerating. There are so many streams. That's all they do. And there's some that are giving like legitimate like critiques. And one of those channels that's actually on the better side is Daramuth. But there's a couple of other ones. All they do is complain every single time. I complain over values and ethics. But they're complaining like, I'm not getting the money that I deserve, sort of thing. I'm like, you don't deserve any money whatsoever. Nobody that is watching your stream is buying the things related to the advertisements taking place. And if they're not buying, you don't get to get paid. Sorry, that is how the world works. You have to justify your value by labor. And if you're not doing anything that's generating revenue, you're in the wrong field. By the way, I'm a terrible salesman. This is one of the reasons why I will never be a good streamer. But I would rather be a genuine one than a genuine and kind streamer than a, famous and rich, successful streamer. Plus, random interactions are cool. They can be. Sorry, I missed that one earlier. They can be. There can also be some ones that reach out and they sound good and then suddenly realize, there's a problem. That was interesting. There's a guy that I follow. I won't mention his name because he does pop in every now and again. But a guy who does random conversations with people. And sometimes they go well, and usually it ends up being that people are just trying to, do self-promotion. So they're not really being genuine, nor do they really have an interest in wanting to really work with the guy authentically. They're just trying to exploit him. And then it may sound fine to begin with, but when you have several interactions like that, it just gets discouraging. But if you have that ability, by all means, it's worth it. But you have to have a personality that can withstand the critiques that come in. And a couple of streamers I know, they don't really have that. I'm able to deal with a lot of the nonsense that can happen just by ignoring it. I find that's the best solution. But some people view it like a sort of battle that they need to do. And so they'll fight. And it doesn't really make anybody's mind change. Oh, the secret weapon. That thing actually works out incredible. Do you have another one? Oh no, you got the other one. Man, that other weapon feels broken. Very broken. Art section has a different mindset. That it does. I don't think people watch art are this salty as others and the other. Precisely. It's the gaming one that's usually the worst. Conversations and politics is the second worst. No, it's not the first, ironically enough. Some people think it would be the first, but it's actually like the second. Art can get divisive, depending on what you do, but for the most part, you're in the clear. So you are right with that. You just want to make sure you maintain that. Very much so. What the heck? Those bugs? Or those fish? It's weird looking. I'm just always trying to make sure that people are sober-minded about when they try and do it. Because I've known so many people that go in and then immediately jump out. But honestly, you could do pretty well. I know a guy, we raid him on a regular Havid fare. He's over in Denmark. Sorry, Sweden. I sometimes forget about where everyone's located. Over in Sweden, and he does good stuff. He's always staying productive, doing all sorts of artwork. And he's had a good run of it. Oh no. That was not successful. I should have used the secret weapon. I think I'll do one more and then I'll call it there. So far, this stream seems to have been a success. The goal was to try and test out the new system, and it seems to be working. I mean, the fact that we can play Fortnite is good. The fact that we can have a 2 system setup and have it go smoothly, positive. The fact that we've not had any major audio problems, at least as far as I can tell. There was a guy who I feel so very sorry for. Offered him the same sort of deal that they offered me, or very similar. It wasn't nearly as high end. They were going to offer him something a little bit less, but they still offered it to him, and he agreed to it. I wish the guy would have deleted that email immediately. His marriage fell apart as a result. Wife divorced him, and he ended up becoming a nobody. His wife, on the other hand, went on to find success, and she didn't look back. It all happened because she got introduced, because he got introduced. It affects your family, and sometimes things go very, very wrong. And that one did. And unfortunately, when he realized it was kind of becoming too late, and he tried to back out, that was when real problems started to happen. These are the things you don't hear about. You always hear about the success stories of streaming. You don't hear about the nightmares. Kind of like how everyone back in the day wanted to become an actor, not realizing that actors were some of the most sad and lonely people in the world. More people watch Mario than the whole art section. It's a very niche genre. That it is. That it is. It used to not be that way. When I was getting started, art was like everywhere. In fact, art had sometimes more streamers than the well, a whole lot of groups. Sniper got sniped. Trying to steal my gas, would you? Hey, look, art. And it looks like Mario. Mario horse. Don't go close quarters. Oh my, that person had a very good weapon. I could have been in serious trouble. Oh, they got the good weapon. All right, time to melt somebody with lead. I did not do that very well. Oh, that could have been bad. That could have been bad, bad, bad. One of my favorite YouTube channels early on was an art channel. And he had hundreds of thousands of views, which was actually quite big back in the day. And he lost his channel when they started to, critique the art community and made it worse for artists to try and share stuff without, like, uh-oh. Stand by. Don't attack a wolf while he's drinking. Oh, there's another one. Perfect. But his channel disappeared one day, and I lost one of my favorite art resources. It's a shame that happened. I watched so many hours of his content, learning so many great techniques. Oh, that could have been bad. This has been very successful. Reload everything. Uh-oh. Don't mean for that. Was that all the people over there? Interesting. A lot of players. Wolf away. By the way, last week we got to do a really fun stream. I was with Dadman talking about stories, and we're going to be doing another one, a follow-up to that. I don't know necessarily what it's going to be about, but it's going to be a continuation of the stories and the loss of storytelling. And we're going to give a couple of examples of how some stories could be improved. But we'll have to see where it goes. It'll be probably about 2 hours again. It's going to be on the 27th, I believe. But it will be definitely interesting for those that want to know about the world of storytelling, about the pros and cons, and some of the stories that maybe you were disappointed in, seeing how they could have actually been made better, and to show that it really is the storyteller that is the problem, not just Hollywood. There we go, get rid of that. There's a guy that I knew, a streamer who played what was the game? It was a Nintendo game. He was like the streamer for it. The heck? That was weird. Brian Island. Weird. So anyway, he was like the player, the streamer for this Nintendo Switch game. I wish I could remember what it was. And he became sought by a couple of big streamers who wanted to do a collaborative event with him. And it sounded really cool, really successful. And around the time of... Okay, stand by. Hello? That could have been so bad. I could have fallen to my doom. Because he got rid of my balloon. Yeah, I need to stick with the balloons. So there he was. Entering the big leagues. He was already part of the big leagues, and then he had a chance to really get some extra fame, and he got a chance to go into the political realm. So, from video gamer to political commentator. That's not suspicious. He thought he had arrived. And then, as his fame started to grow even more with his political commentaries, he started to realize the fun that he had was disappearing. Suddenly he met the agitators, the people that were there to cause pain and frustration. That felt like a bot. And so while he still continued to stream, his demeanor changed very quickly. And he was no longer the happy-go-lucky guy that he used to be. Boy, I'm still climbing. Oh, I got the golden stuff, so I'm able to move a little bit farther. Oh, he had the revive. Or was trying to get the revive. Alright, near the end of the game, so I'm going to stay focused here. No more stories. Is his name Bush Camper? That's interesting. Oh, golly. Oh, that's a bot. Okay. So someone hired him. Streamers should really avoid political stuff. Yeah, for the most part. I like to view mostly the ethics of an issue rather than the politics of it. Almost. Ah, come on. Phooey. Come on. So close. There we go. Did you just jump? Oh, you flew. Okay. Fly away, little birdie. Oh no, you're up there. Okay, time to fly for myself. What happened to you? Oh, you used the invisibility thing. Come on. No. Oh, phooey. Oh yeah, philosophy is dope. Oh no, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. The storm is getting strong. Hey, come back here, Storm. Oh no. No. Storm, you traitorous thing. Oh my goodness, this storm is ridiculous. Dang. I have not seen the storm this strong in a long time. Activate. Hopefully this works. Oh, come on. I'm stuck. I think I could actually won that there. Man, that storm traveled a long way. That... Wow. 12 eliminations. Fail. We're going to go back to the lobby and start to wrap things up. So here's the thing. Politics is deeply important for the survival of a nation, a culture, and but the problem is how you live that out makes things worse. Because politicians inevitably lie. It's better to talk about the rights and wrongs of this world through philosophy, religion, because that's the root of the problem. You have to go to the root of a subject. A politician will say, hey, you know, we don't like all this, that people are slipping and sliding with all this winter that we got here. All that snow and ice, we gotta get rid of it. Let's get a blowtorch and go and get rid of it all. They promise things that they really can't do. It's like they'll go out and they'll clear one street, and then they'll stop. But if instead you go into the philosophy and to the psychology and the religion of why things are the way that they are, you go to the real solutions that you need. Rather than saying, hey, we're going to just fix it blindly. Instead, you're like, let's learn how to work with it. Let's learn how to troubleshoot this and find the way that we can navigate a world with it. It's kind of like the idea of an animal. You can think that somehow you can understand and tame the wilderness. But in reality, what you have to learn to do is learn how to work with it. You can't force nature to bend to your will. You learn to adapt to it. Learn to move it along as you need by basically understanding how it works. That's what philosophy and religion do. It examines the root of the issue and finds a way to work within the rules of nature and to abide by the understanding of how you're supposed to live in harmony. A politician doesn't go to those areas. In fact, the more that I hear politicians, the more I'm realizing they want to solve problems, but they always want to do it through some sort of lies and manipulation. And when they do find success, many times there's some horrible compromise that had to go about. Politics is the exercising of a philosophy, a worldview. And many times that's where their philosophy starts to break, because they start to realize you can't achieve all the goals that you want without making somebody mad. And thus, a politician makes compromises, and usually to their detriment. Philosophy talk is more attractive and universal. Remember, the most young viewers don't believe in God, so talking about Allah or Jesus can make them uncomfortable as they can't really relate. True, but every philosopher has its roots in some belief of some kind. The question is, what is that belief for them? That's one of the reasons why I like to talk about anything and everything. Because I get a chance to, explore deep subjects without, in a way that hopefully doesn't alienate. But I still don't avoid the subjects. There's some philosophers, though, that have done some incredible work and does help to get to the root of issues. But a politician lies through their teeth, offers one thing, and instead takes it and uses it for themselves. Every single time. It's not a matter of if, but when. They're humans too. They're fallible, and they also have a chance for success. So I won't demonize all of them. But I will say that it is very easy to be tempted with power. It's a temptation I hope we never have to experience. The temptation of power is the most powerful temptation that I know of. The desire to accumulate strength, the ability to dictate the world as you see fit, gets scary. That's why I hope we never have to deal with it. That's why fame is the first step in a desire for power. The earlier you get power, the worse off you are. The later you get power, the more you've had a chance to live life, and the more you're probably going to not let it go to your head. At least that's my understanding of it. But I've known some people where that has also not changed things. Actually, no, we are going to go with one more because that now got me on a thought. Watch this. It's probably going to end in a moment. There's a man who got power in his later years. He was 40 or 45. I don't actually know his actual age, but it was around that range. 40 or 45, which means he would be around 50 now. or something like that, or close to 50. And he did not look it. In some ways, he looked older, and in some ways, he looked younger. Facially, he looked younger. Mentality, weariness, he looked way older. He looked tired. But what ended up happening was he ended up getting fame and glory in his later years. And at first, he was all fine with it. He was working with relatives. He had the opportunity to really feel like he was off to the races. He was encouraging to people. And then someone came along and whispered in his ear. Now, technically, it was a fellow creator. In my personal view, it was the devil who came along and whispered into his ear sweet promises of fame and glory and power. You don't just have to talk about these things. You can dictate it. And it was very tempting to him. And one day, someone in that group reached out to me and said, "Hey, this guy's lost it. Like, we can tell there's something different about him." They didn't know what it was. I did. I did because I got to hear it. I heard the day before. I heard that he was going to go talk with somebody. I didn't know who it was. But the moment he got back, he was different. He was a different man. And he proceeded to get even more different and estranged of who he was beforehand. The values that he had pushed for, gone. Out the window. Like they never existed. He didn't want to soil himself with the things that he now saw beneath him, including people. He was now about that sweet ad revenue. He was now about the ability to make investments, buy things that were huge and impressive. The feeling like he had the world answering to him. It did sound sweet indeed. But what he didn't realize was that for him to achieve that, he would have to stomp on somebody. And at first he resisted. He didn't want to. He didn't want to hurt the people that helped him get somewhere. Then the devil came back along and said, "You just need to do it. I mean, they're not gonna really care. They'll understand that you need to do this in order to find success." What the heck? No. Bots. Well, it was a process, like I said, that happened from one day, but the process of transforming took about 6 months. And after 6 months, he was completely a different man. His friend circles had changed. His, the folks he would even listen to changed. I went from being someone he would consult to being someone he never wanted to hear from. The people who had been with him for a long time went from being lifelong friends of his to being assets. Thought that was Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yes, indeed. I knew a guy who could actually do an Arnold impersonation voice perfectly. Oh, that was close. Ah, darn, out of range. Oh well. But anyway, so he lost everybody. People started to think of him as someone who was evil, or borderline evil. I just saw a man who was confused, who was making bad choices. But it's unfortunate when you see somebody who's suddenly bitten with that desire for power and fame. The fame he had, it was the power that came along later on. The power that suddenly became so appealing, so attractive. The temptation of kings. That's what I kind of view the desire for power. Because the average person will not feel that, thankfully. But the person who desires power will come from those that really are dissatisfied with an old system. And they feel like they can just force it into the way that they want. Anyone can end up having that temptation, but the people that are at most risk are those that have power and they've not learned how to abuse it yet. So you have to give the person power first, and then you watch to see if they're going to use it or abuse it. And that's risky. You're probably going to be able to tell, though, just whether or not you give them some money. Watch what happens when you give somebody money. Are they going to, and I mean a lot, a little bit at first for like people who are young to see what happens with them. But if you give somebody who's older a lot of money, you will see what they become. And some people might say, "Oh, that's a bit of a trick," you know. Of course, they'll suddenly have all the money and whatnot, and find success or whatnot. But here's the thing. No, it's not good. Thank you for stopping there for just a brief moment. And what I mean by is that a person who is given money and they taste power, they're going to have a hard time holding on to that money. They're going to lose it so quickly. Oh, sure, not everyone. Some people are going to use it and abuse it, and they'll have all the wealth, and they will destroy things with it. Oh, that failed. Ah, that lightning. Powerful stuff. I'm going to call it there. I could go on this subject for actually a very, very long time. I have done it before, and I can feel myself getting ramped up into a longer discussion. So I'm going to put a fork in it for now. We will be back later. Maybe tomorrow, maybe Friday, maybe after that. I don't know. My streaming schedule is all over the place these days. But now that I have this set up, now I got to get the art portion of it set up. But we will see you all next time. Have a very pleasant evening, morning, everybody. No matter what happens to you, whether you have power or you don't, whether you stream or don't, have fame or don't, be civil to one another. And we will see you next time, whenever that is. Until then, folks, have a very pleasant evening.